Hello and welcome to Talking Balls, the football show where fans have their say. Tonight we're going to be talking to a Tottenham fan, Holly, about their nightmare trip to the northeast. Jim, the Liverpool fan, who's going to try to explain to us how they didn't score from 21 shots. We'll also welcome back John, our Manchester City fan. You must be probably the happiest person on the panel tonight, I'd say. And last but not least, we are welcoming John, the Nottingham Forest fan, for his Talking Balls debut. Great to hear about the FFP thoughts from John there. Actually, first up, we have Holly from Holly's Hotspurs. So, Holly, thanks for joining us.
No, thank you. Cheers. I say it's probably not the best circumstances after the weekend.
Yeah, I know. Sorry to bring you on that one. I know you've just had your own podcast just finished, so you've literally come from that one onto this one. So I appreciate you've had not much break, and I won't keep you too long. But obviously, you've been talking about the kind of match reaction from the weekend. What's the barometer of feeling amongst the Spurs fans at the moment?
I mean, with every fan base, there's extremes. So a lot of people are frustrated, annoyed. Andrew's only got one way of playing, this, that, and the other. And then you've got the other side, that there's perspective in a sense that he's still not even a season into this journey so far. And don't get me wrong, it is annoying to go away to Newcastle, lose 4-0 in a place where you think we're on the road to something. We've got a lot of our games coming, and we've just had a major blip. But I think the fan base on a whole are okay. We're sticking in there a little bit.
I mean, as a West Ham fan, I can say that Newcastle was not an easy place to go. So, yeah, it wasn't a happy hunting ground for the Hammers either. So I feel your pain, mate. I feel your pain. Well, that wasn't 4-0, but we've been on the wrong end of those, so don't worry about it. When I look at it's strange, when I look at the statistics, if you just cover up the scoreline and look at the stats for that game, 27% possession Newcastle had, 189 passes compared to your 575. And they had a passing accuracy of 65% versus 86%. But they scored 4 goals from 5 shots, which is, yeah, I mean, that's football. That's the wonder of the Premier League. But who was to blame for that loss?
To be honest, I think there's a lot of things. I think our midfield at the moment is all over the gaff, which is putting it plain and simple. At the start of the season, obviously, we had Basuma flying, but I think ever since he's had that red card, his performance dipped. Maddison, since his injury, hasn't been the same. We've just kind of lost that balance in midfield. So when you're playing such a high line and you lose the ball because you misplaced the pass or you haven't moved it very quick, you're very much under a lot of pressure. And I think that was evident, obviously, with that. I think it's the third goal where the ball just got pinged over to Isaac and he was just straight through on goal because our defenders were so high up. Yeah. And I think as well, like a lot of Spurs fans are thinking, I think when we haven't got those players performing to the heights they should be, we make a lot of mistakes. And in that game, there was so many mistakes. And I'm not saying that's a reason for why we were so bad. I just think that combination of everything in that game just resulted in that.
Yeah, I bet it's one of those games where you were maybe cheering for Arsenal to beat Villa. Was that the case? Not that much.
Well, no, not for me personally. It was a strange place to be on Twitter that day because obviously, like I say, you see fans saying, "Oh, just let Arsenal win. Like it's fine. It means we can get top 4." I'm thinking, no. In what right mind do you want your rivals to win every game? That's not how it goes. So yeah, no, it was a very strange place to be. But Twitter is a strange place. So there we go.
Yeah, that's very true. And I can't see Arsenal winning all those games anyway. I still think they'll finish third. I do. I think Liverpool come second and City will win it. That's kind of my early prediction. I mean, obviously you're strong. Your home form compared to your away form is kind of night and day. I think you're third in the table for home form, but ninth away. So I mean, you've only won 2 in the last 10 games away, which is obviously where the problem lies. Really, does Ange, coming back to something you said earlier, does Ange not change his tactics when you're away?
Yeah, and I really don't know what it is. I think there's a lot of fans that are saying Ange doesn't have a plan B. But I think to myself, what other top managers have a plan B? Yes, okay, they make slight tweaks, they make adaptations, but Pep plays the way he plays and it works perfectly. But yes, it's taken a little bit of time. You look at Arteta, as much as I don't like him, he's taken time to embed his philosophy. And okay, they've had a bit of a blip, but it's working. So I don't know why fans go and say, well, we ain't got a plan B. It needs to sort it out. I think for me, if you get plan A right and you've got the players that you know will play your system, then you shouldn't have to worry, apart from making minor tweaks.
Yeah. And where do the kind of minor tweaks need to come from? Or are there major tweaks? Where are the major tweaks needing to come from?
I think at the moment it's we just haven't got that balance in midfield. I think a lot of Spurs fans are saying we need that number 6 because at the moment we're seeing Maddison drop so deep and he's not been able to do what we know he can do. And I think where Basuma's having bad performances, he can't quite do that role either. So I think a major tweak would be to push Maddison up and force him to stay high, but make sure we've got someone that can play that number 6 role, which at the moment I don't think we necessarily have.
Yeah. I mean, the Newcastle game was a bit of an anomaly because I think you were just outpaced. Your defence was outpaced all over the shop. And we do know that you've got one of the fastest defences in the Prem. But yeah, it just seemed to be such a high line consistently. It was 2 long balls, I think, that you conceded against, which is just really strange to repeat that mistake in the same game.
And I think again that's because Eddie did his homework. I know that obviously we talk about the fact that yes, Andrew's got one way of playing, but I think to myself, if we don't make that mistake where we lose the ball high at the pitch and that ball goes straight over, then we're not discussing it. So I think once we sort out that midfield balance, yes, okay, it may happen now and again, but it's not going to happen as often and as catastrophic as that did in that game.
Yeah, fair enough. I know that when we had another Spurs fan on, Anthony, he was talking about if there was one. Kane's irreplaceable. I'm not saying you can replace him, but if you were going to replace him with anybody, Isak would be the person that you would love to sign. Obviously, he scored 2 against you, and he's really tricky player. Is that someone that you think you'd need to sign, or is it another striker you've got in mind?
That is funny you say that actually, because I think on tonight they were the guests that I had on one mention Isak in the sense that he is that player that's quick. But if you need a goal, he's that out and out striker that will give you that. And I think you also think that he's Premier League proven. And the fact if he's banging goals against us, then fine, let's take those goals away from Newcastle and give them to us. But I think you are right. I think we do have a gaping hole in someone that can be an out and out striker because Sonny's brilliant, but I still don't think he's that central player when teams against us are playing so condensed. He can't manage to break through the lines. Where someone's like Isak, he'll be able to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And how old is Son now?
It's a very good question. I should probably know. But he's getting on a bit, to be fair.
He's the wrong side of 30s. I mean, I wouldn't mind being that side of 30, but he's over 30 though, isn't he now?
I think so, or near thereabouts. But he is yes, getting on for a player, and I think there is going to be a time where we are looking to obviously replace him in terms of a younger outfit because he's sadly not going to be here forever, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now your next game is against Arsenal, isn't it? That the next match?
Yep.
Obviously, they've had a blip. A dip in form. So it's going to be a really interesting London derby. Do you think you'll come out on top on that one?
It's a difficult one because obviously, if you asked me before this, I'd say I'm terrified because just of the way they've been playing, and I can hold my hands up and say, look, they have been brilliant this season, and it pains me to say that. But having that little blip, and I know they talk about us being bottlers, but the pressure is really on them at the moment, and the fact that they're buckling a little bit makes me very happy. And the sense for us, the fact that it is at home, and you talk about our home form, that also makes me feel better. And the fact that I think they've got like obviously Bayern in the week. I think they've got Wolves and Chelsea potentially before they play us. And then the only downside of that is we've got quite a long break. We don't seem to be doing very well with these breaks. We kind of lose our rhythm. But saying that, I feel slightly more confident that they're buckling.
Yeah. I was looking at your remaining games, actually. You do have a game in hand on Villa, obviously. But you still have to play Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City, which is a horrendous run-in. Where do you think you'll finish realistically?
I honestly do not have a clue, to be honest with you. And the thing is, as much as I really, really want top 4, I wouldn't sit here and say I don't want top 4. But I also think to myself, as cliche as it sounds, what will be, will be. I think right now, we are probably too soon to go back into Champions League. In terms of, like I say, fixing that number 6 role, fixing an out-and-out striker. I still think we need time to kind of bed in Andrew's system. So I think going into Champions League is going to be an awful big ask for us. So if we do finish 5th, and obviously those places don't come down to us for Champions League, it is what it is. But like I said, there's so many fixtures coming up that are incredible difficulty for us. So I'd like to say top 4, but realistically, probably 5th.
Yeah, fair enough. And last question, really. I know with the FFPs being quite, the Premier League's coming down hard on a lot of clubs at the moment. Is there any rumblings? I've no idea on Tottenham. Is there any rumblings that there could be a penalty coming your way?
I don't think so, because of one thing, as you know, with Mr. Levy, he only spends what he makes and then he doesn't want to spend it. So I don't think there is. I think that's probably the only one thing I can hold my hands up and clap Daniel Levy in the sense that he has kind of done things right when it comes to FFP. So yeah, I think we might be all right.
Yeah, fair enough. Actually, there was one more question. There's a question that's scrolling along the screen. I think I'm going to ask all the guests this tonight. But Roy Keane recently said that Erling Haaland was a League Two player. If he is a League Two player, what club should Darwin Núñez play for?
Oh my word, I have no idea. You're asking someone that only knows Tottenham. Jesus, what made him come up with that question? I really
Well, basically,
don't
we're
know.
saying, are you a fan of Darwin Núñez? Would you take him at Tottenham?
I mean, I probably wouldn't say no, but again, I haven't seen enough of him to put it blankly, and that sounds awful being a football fan, but I literally just watched Tottenham.
Fair enough. Fair enough. In that case, that's probably why you take him. I've seen enough of him. I wouldn't take him at West Ham, I don't think. But Jim is going to rip me apart for saying that, and we're going to bring him on next. Holly, I know you've done over an hour of talking already. I did promise you that I wouldn't keep you for too long. So thank you very much for coming on. If anybody's watching this on the replay, please do go and check out Holly's Hotspurs channel. It's great. Obviously, if you're a Tottenham fan, subscribe and enjoy. Thanks, Holly.
Amazing. Thank you. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Okay, awesome. So next up, we've got Jim to tell us how good Darwin Núñez is.
He's a very good player. Hi, Mark. You're right.
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. Okay, well, I'll start with this stat then. 21 shots, only 6 on target for Liverpool. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. There were some amazing saves and goal line clearances actually from both teams. I think Robertson's was an amazing goal line clearance itself, but that's got to worry you, isn't it? Like that many shots and not scoring.
Yeah, and just before we start, obviously today is the 35th anniversary of the Hillsborough disaster, and I just wanted to pay tribute to the victims, families, survivors. It's vital that we never forget what happened on that day, and that we don't ever stop fighting for justice for the 97. Yeah, when it comes to the Crystal Palace game, again, it's just a case of we can't seem to finish our dinner at the minute. The meat, you've got all the meat on the horse, but you've got no legs in it. You just can't. We don't have that clinical finish, the final product at the end of it. So, I mean, you spoke about the Andy Robertson goal line clearance. I mean, that was fantastic. And it's moments like that you need to keep you in games. But if you can't put the ball in the back of the net, then you're gonna really struggle. I think I'm just hoping that this is a week you can sort of put behind you as a bad week, learn from it, and then hopefully next week or this week we can go to Atalanta, win 4-0, and win our last 6 games of the Premier League.
I'll definitely come on to the Atalanta game in a minute, mate. But I mean, you say that obviously there was a blip. It was a blip for you, but we're kind of getting to that point now in the season where you're not having time for blips because City, we know. I think we said this last time we spoke. They are such strong finishers. So, do you think that City will drop anything for you to be able to sneak in if you win the rest of your games? No.
And like you say, this is arguably the shittest time for a blip. You cannot get any worse timing for a blip. I can't see City dropping points. There's 6 games left of the season now. This is a team that we're talking about that has the capability of winning 20, 25 games on the bounce, never mind 6. It should be. I'm not saying this to put the pressure on them, but it should be a doddle for City now. And I don't know if you remember the last time we spoke, I think City were a good few points behind Liverpool and Arsenal, and I still backed them. So, I mean, yeah, they've got Tottenham away soon. I think that's probably the game a lot of Liverpool fans are going to be looking at thinking, yeah, they could drop points in that one. But realistically, Liverpool have just got to do their business. 6 games left. If we're able to turn our form around and win those 6, I think it's 89 points we finish on, which if you don't win the league with 89 points, then that's a shame because that's a really strong points total. I think, again, it would be the 3rd time under Klopp that we've been really unlucky to finish runners-up.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I was looking at the shots you had. I didn't watch the full game, to be honest. I watched the highlights, but every shot you seem to have, whilst they were great saves by the keeper, he just made himself big, but they were all really central. I don't think there was any shots that really went anywhere near the corners, which was just sort of snatching, which again, is it a case of bad form as Salah checked out? Just thinking about the check he's going to get in Saudi next season. What's happening there?
Yeah, could be. I mean, I think it's something that splits a lot of Liverpool fans. I think at the minute you've got 50% that want him to stay, 50% that think it's probably time to cash in on him. He's a legend at the club, but I think if you get £100 million offer in the summer, I think you're probably wise to take it. I think when you talk about the shots we had, the shots that were close to the post, they were wide of the post. So I mean, the Curtis Jones chance. I'm not sure if you saw that. That was a howler of a mistake. But you know what? These things happen. The lads haven't got the shooting boots on at the minute. That's the beauty of having 5 strikers, and now they're all back fully fit. You've got Mo Salah, Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez, and Diogo Jota. And when you've got 5 strikers, it sort of means that if one of them isn't having the best day in front of goal, you can sort of rely on the other one. All 5 at the minute seem to have forgotten how to kick a ball, which isn't helpful for us, but hopefully they're able to turn that around.
Yeah, it's the pressure getting to them. I've seen your run in, which you've got Fulham away. We said this before, Everton away. You should absolutely spank them, but it's that derby, so you just never know. Yeah. West Ham away.
The most obvious 1-0 Everton win I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's it. It'll be part of the bus. Talking of part of the bus, then you've got West Ham, which is all we can do. Tottenham.
That should be an easy 3 points against West Ham though.
It'd be easy. Honestly, I think we'll probably end up finishing around mid-table. I think that should hopefully see Moyes out, but fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Definitely.
And then Tottenham and Villa and Wolves.
Look, really tough games. I think if you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I probably would have said the Fulham game was the one I was most wary of. We always seem to struggle at going to Craven Cottage, but I think they won at the weekend, which I think technically confirms their safety in the league. Not that they were ever in real risk of going down, but I think maybe they can sort of take their foot off the gas a little bit. They've not really got anything to fight for. They're not going for Europe. They're well clear of relegation now, obviously. So we should pick up 3 points there. Tottenham, that's always an interesting one when they come to Anfield. Always, it's never an easy game. I'm sure Holly's looking forward to that one as well. But hopefully they can come up to us, and they're not going to want Arsenal to win the league, are they? So hopefully they'll let us beat them quite comfortably.
Let you. I mean, I think to be fair, all of those look like winnable games. And again, Tottenham have got City, so again that could be a banana skin. Well, we know what Tottenham are like. They can be Spursy, and then they could just surprise somebody on a day. So I don't know. I still think there's going to be one twist. So I think City won't win all their games, but I just still think someone else will drop the points as well. I think there'll be twists and turns.
And I think it's the Tottenham factor. I think Tottenham have got 6 games. I think everyone's got 6 games more or less left to go. I mean, can you really see Tottenham losing all 3 of those games? I just can't see it happening. I think surely they've got to take points off at least one of them. I'm saying this now; it's probably going to be us, but I just can't see them losing all 3 games. I'm hoping they're able to help us out a little bit.
Yeah. And look, sorry to kick a man when he's down, but we have to talk about the Atlanta game as well. Which
do we?
Well, I do. I enjoy it.
I'm sure.
I mean, we didn't do very well in Europe, so I can laugh at myself. But as a West Ham fan, I can. But I mean, nobody saw that result coming. Did Klopp just rest too many players?
Yeah, he said after the game that if he could go back in time, he'd do the exact same and he'd make the same changes, because I think you get to this stage of the season and there's so many tired legs, you've got to make changes in these games. So I'm not surprised he made changes. Look, you're 3-0 down. No one expected to lose 3-0 at home to Atalanta. You don't get me wrong, I bigged them up before the game. I think a lot of people thought it'd be a walk in the park for Liverpool, but I said, look, they've just gone to Napoli and won 3-0. You know, this is a decent side. I know Napoli aren't having the greatest of seasons, but they've just won the title. They've just gone there and won 3-0. I mean, it's incredible. They are a very good team, tactically so disciplined. And I think Klopp knew that, but it's like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. The passing was off. The goalkeeper wasn't great. Defensively, we were all over the place. Couldn't hold the line. Again, strikers obviously couldn't finish off the dinner at all. So I think just all of that mixed into one was just a recipe for disaster. And I know I'm only 20, but that was definitely the worst I've ever seen Liverpool play, and I don't throw that around lightly.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping for you'd advance, West Ham would advance, and we'd eventually play each other at some point. But I don't think either of those are looking likely.
That'll be Moyes getting sacked.
I can't see us turning Leverkusen over the way they've been playing at the moment. I mean, obviously, Skamaka scored a couple against you as well. Again, another player that Moyes couldn't get a tune out of. He's one of those managers who doesn't like strikers. But do you really think you can turn that one around and advance?
Look, no. I mean, the honest answer is you're 3-0 down and we're playing dog shit. So the obvious answer would be no. But I don't know. I think because it's Klopp, because it's Liverpool, you do still get that little feeling like we could go there, and if we attack the game, if we play the right way, if we're able to perform a lot better than we have done, we do create chances. You touched on it against Crystal Palace. We couldn't score a goal, but we created 21 opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net. If something can click on Thursday, you never know, but it is unlikely. But last time we went there, we won 5-0. So you never know.
I mean, Lewis, who is an Arsenal fan, has obviously said there, what's happened to Salah? Is he back from the international? Yeah.
Good one. Funny.
And I agree. I'm not planting these ones. But I think
Can we not have we not got any Liverpool fans in the comments? No.
I'm not bringing their ones up, mate.
No.
And obviously, talking to Klopp as well, there's the replacement there. So I think, I don't know if people have stopped taking bets, but Ruben Amorim is odds-on favourite now. Is he someone that you would take? Do you think he's a good manager?
Yeah, I mean, he seems to do well at Sporting. I've watched a few videos of him, a few tactic videos from him, and it's definitely different from Klopp. But I think that's necessary. I think the biggest mistake Liverpool could do is try and find another Jurgen Klopp, because you can't do it. So you've got to get a new manager come in, and it's going to be so difficult for him if it is Ruben Amorim, because he's going to be walking into this team that's played the majority of their careers under Jurgen Klopp, and he's going to have to stamp his foot of authority down a bit and say, look, this is how I do things, and if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I'm the manager. And that's going to be difficult, I think, for a lot of players, because they'll sort of turn around and go, bit like, the new stepdad in the family. It's like, you're not my real dad. Where's Jurgen? So it's going to be tricky. But I think if it is Ruben Amorim, not to look too far ahead, but I think what would constitute a successful season would just be making sure you get top four football and stay in the Champions League, maybe even a cup along the way. But I think top four next season would be huge, especially when you look at clubs like Chelsea, who are going to be looking at getting back in there, Manchester United, Newcastle with their money. There's so many teams looking to get in there. So that's definitely the goal. But it'll be tough, very tough.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Chelsea there. That's somebody else. And again, I know there's a bit of a delay on getting that over the line. And I've heard this week that Chelsea were also potentially speaking to him. And Liverpool's got to be the more obvious choice. Like, if you were a manager, that's probably where you would go to. Chelsea just seems to be in a mess. I know they're playing tonight against Everton, actually, so I don't know what the score is, but they just seem to be a club that just churning through managers at the moment, like they do in Spain.
Well, that's what they did under Abramovich as well, and that was very successful for them. You'd get a new manager and a world-class manager, win a couple of trophies, and then sack them. Liverpool aren't like that. So when you get a manager and they almost become, they're like a deity. They're idolized as a god, and there's a real pressure to succeed. And if you succeed, you've got to stay at the club. And I think Ruben Amorim, if he's a manager that's looking to develop his career, I think he'd probably rather build something special at Liverpool if he believes he's the right man to do that, rather than walk into what is an absolute shit show at Chelsea. Saying that, it's 2-0, is it? Yeah. So there you go.
Well, John will be happy then. John's probably dancing in his bedroom or lounge, wherever he is at the moment. He's Nottingham Forest fan coming on soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean that would be an interesting race to the bottom as well. Do you think Everton could go down?
It seems like you throw in everything at them, and they're just too stubborn. They're too stubborn to go down. I don't think they'll go down. I think the three teams that came up will go down. I think as good as Luton have been this year, I just don't think they've got the quality to stay in the league. And even with Forest and Everton's points deductions, I think they should see it off and stay up. But you never know. They're losing 2-0 now. They've got to start winning games, haven't they? So
yeah.
Nervy times for the other part of Liverpool.
I was going to say it must be great banter for you in Liverpool though, so you don't mind that.
Oh yeah. Well, not in the past week. It's they've sort of been able to look at us and laugh a bit, but yeah. If I'm being completely honest, as funny as it would be to see Everton get relegated, I probably wouldn't want it to happen. If you could guarantee me in like this imaginary world, hypothetical scenario that Everton go down for 1 year and then come back up, so we could still have the derbies, I'd take it. But I worry that if Everton go down, they'll probably stay down, and I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, no,
I think it's healthy for a city as well, for the local economy to have two Premier League clubs that are thriving.
Yeah, all right. I reckon Liverpool on a match day is rocking.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. Town is incredible.
Brilliant. Jim, look, thanks very much for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure as always. I'm sure that we'll speak again before the end of the season. I know there's going to be some twists and turns.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming
Hopefully
on.
in better circumstances.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, Tottenham fan, happy to come on when you lose. Liverpool the same. Where's the Arsenal fans tonight, eh? Well, they're just in the comments giving grief.
Where's Lewis? He's just, that's it.
All right, buddy. I'll catch you later, mate.
Mark.
Sorry, cut you off there quite early there. Okay, now we're going to speak to Man City fans. So John is probably the happiest person we're going to have up on the stage tonight. So, John, look at that smile straight away. You know the title was done and dusted, mate.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? You okay?
Oh, not too bad, sir. Not too bad. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
Well, like I'm probably not going to talk about the City Luton game too much because that's kind of just that match was set up just so Erling Haaland could cement his place as Golden Boot winner, really, wasn't it? It's always going to be an absolute spanking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like being disingenuous to other sides, but I think Luton were probably tactically and football sense one of the worst teams I've ever seen at the Etihad, and I've been going since Kevin Keegan was our manager, so that says something. But yeah, obviously you talk about two sides of varying different qualities and abilities coming off the bench. So I think just stamina and tactics took over at the end of the day. So yeah, it was a bit of a walkover, but I thought Luton could have gone for a bit more. Just I don't know. I think we thought pretty much.
Well, if FFP has got anything to play into this season, you might be playing them in the Championship next year anyway, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
Hey, it'd be great. Looking forward to it.
I mean, can you see City dropping any points from here on in, looking at your running?
I mean, everybody in the media or City fans are saying it. We've got the easiest running, but we've got Brighton a week on Thursday, where I know Brighton have been in great shakes probably since coming back after Christmas, really. But they did give us a good run in when we played there last. I think in Estepinian get the goal of the season against ourselves. So I think that's what I'm a little bit nervous for, and obviously Tottenham as well. The new White Hart Lane, whatever you want to call it. It's not been a happy hunting ground for ourselves, but have the wheels fallen off for Ange? Has he kind of no plan Bs or anything like that? So I think potentially Brighton or Tottenham is where I don't think we'd lose, but I could see one of them being a draw. I think I've said it before on the podcast, having been at the QPR game, the Aston Villa game, we've had to win it against West Ham and Brighton on the final day of the season as well in recent times. So anything could happen. There's a long way to go yet until the final whistle. I mean, we've got West Ham on the final day, so even though it's at home, could David
fine. Don't worry about that.
So yeah, we'll have to see. It's great that what happened on the weekend. It gives us a confidence boost, and as we've seen last season when Arsenal faded away, we just went and kicked on, and it was kind of see you later. But I don't think it'll be as straightforward as as last season. I hope it will, but it's all to play for.
Yeah, fair enough. Someone's having a dig there at Liverpool, I think, from that. But good to get a shout out, John.
Thanks, Gracie. Appreciate it. It's very kind of you.
Actually, while we touch upon that, because the score's just come through. Chelsea now 3-0 up, and Cole Palmer got his hat trick. Player you let go. I mean, he's again one of those where did he kind of force his way out? He just wanted to go and play because he thought he was ready. I mean, it looks like he is ready because he's playing outstanding.
Yeah, and again, we never know the true reasons as to why people leave the football clubs. We saw it with João Cancelo last year for a season and a half. He was probably the best attacking, right fullback in the world, and then his house got broken into. He had a poor World Cup, and I think his just mentality took a tumble, and he fell out with Pep. Similar with Palmer, I think with Pep, and we saw it with Jadon Sancho, but Pep was right in that case. If he gets the feeling that somebody doesn't want to play for him or the club that he's at, he does take the tough decisions to get rid of these people. He did it with Barcelona when he came in. I think he got rid of Ronaldinho and Deco straight out of the gate. So, look, is it a decision long-term that could come back to haunt us? Maybe. Cole's having a great season. It's good to see a local lad doing well. I think it would have been nice to have him as another option coming off the bench. But when you see the likes of Oscar Bobbin, the way he's playing, I think Matthias Nunes, I know he's not an academy product, but I think he's stepped up in the recent couple of weeks. So got some good options there, but best of luck to Cole.
Yeah, it's not a bad academy you've got there.
No, not at all. Actually, Rico Lewis as well. So not a couple of bad prospects coming off the bench.
If City are going to win it, who do you think is going to come second and third?
I think I was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I think I said in my mind that Liverpool would win the league because of Klopp's mentality. But I think if City, as you said, City win it, I think Klopp will still do his hardest just to drag his boys over the line. So I see it just being Liverpool again, because Liverpool have been there with Klopp, whether it's been Champions League finals, winning the Premier League Cup finals. I think with Arteta and Arsenal, because Arsenal haven't. I know Arteta won FA Cups and Community Shield as well, but I think because they haven't done it at the league level, I think they might just fade away. So I think it'd be Liverpool, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and then fourth's going to be an interesting race to wrap it all up.
Yeah, again, I just can't see Spurs with the running they've got. Those teams they've got to play much harder than Villa's. So I can't. So I think Villa will get that fourth spot. Lewis has a question for you, John. How do you see City getting on after their points deduction down to Haaland's league and lose De Bruyne? Can you get back up 3 divisions? Is it another case of the Juventus mega relegation or Glasgow Rangers thing?
Yeah, indeed. Look, I'm not. I think I said on the first ever podcast I did with you, Mark. I'm not a legal expert. If we go down, look, I've not. Is it embarrassing and will people lord it over me in my friendship groups and at work and in the footballing circles that I work in? Of course they will. It'll be absolutely horrible if we get knocked down to League 2 or whatever it might be. But look, if that happens and we lose everybody and we have to start again, so be it. Let's enjoy the run as a club. We've had to do it in the 90s and getting really coming back up against Gillingham and rebuilding ourselves that way. So if it happens, it'll be annoying. But look, I've got a season ticket. I'm all for seeing the likes of Swindon, Huddersfield, and Yeovil at the Etihad. I can probably rattle through the 92 League Stadium Challenge pretty quickly. So
yeah,
let's see what happens.
Do you think, this will be a controversial question, do you think if City were to drop down, maybe not to the Championship, imagine they went down to League One, would they still fill that stadium like a Sunderland, Newcastle, and West Ham? I think we've been down in the shit end of football. I guess City's not do you think City would still pack out that stadium?
We'd lose the tourists, which is never a bad thing. I'm not a tourist fan kind of person, a bit of a purist in that respect. But look, we were filling out Main Road when we were in League 1 and 2 and playing against the likes of York and everything like that. So would it be the capacity of the 55, 60,000 seats we've got? Probably not, but I would say be pretty close to him. I remember my first game was at Main Road in the 2000s, and I think we slowly beat Aston Villa 2-1, and the place was packed then. It's been, apart from the Bernardo Corradi years, that's the only time I've remember been quite empty. It's been packed ever since. We have a good core fan base. So yeah, I don't think it would be the 60,000, but I reckon there'd still be a lot in there.
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, Lewis is a good example of this. I know as an Arsenal fan, he's been trying to get on the season ticket list for as long as I can remember. Is it a case that actually if you go down, maybe you can finally get a ticket? Because they're gonna come straight back up. I mean, it's, you know, they've got mega money. They've got all these affiliation clubs they can just pull players from anyway, which maybe that's why they set them up. I don't know. Forward planning. So yeah, they'll get people back. Talking as well about just a switch away from the Premier League. The Real Madrid game, the 3-3. What a game that was. The quality of goal was there, especially from Foden, and I'm going to muller his name. Gvardiol, yeah. Brilliant game. What a game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was very stressful for myself. I didn't expect it to be 3-3. I was more stunned than excited when Bernardo Silva's goal went. I think it was poor goalkeeping by Lunin, if I'm honest. I think he could have got more of a hand to it. But when you go 1-0 up against Real Madrid in the Champions League, you know it's not going to stay that way. And again, the game didn't come down to individual mistakes. I know obviously Rodrigo, I think, you know, Vinicius Junior got lucky with the deflections, but it was just moments of brilliance, wasn't it, rather than a collective performance. Obviously, I mean, I'm going to the Real Madrid game on Wednesday. Will I think it will be a 4-0? I mean, I went to every single Champions League home game last season in Istanbul as well. Will I think it'll be the 4-0 like the second leg last season? No, I don't. I think City will just edge it based on what we've got coming off the bench. And again, we've been there now. We've got that certain level of maturity. So I don't think it'll be a 3-3. I don't think it'll be a 4-0. I think both teams will score, but it'll be very, 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 very close.
Yeah, I mean, foolishly, I didn't watch that game. I watched the highlights because I watched the Arsenal game, and it's one of those you kick yourself. I was really like 50-50. Which one do I watch? Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes you pick the wrong one, but definitely we'll be watching that one on the return leg. And again, I think the same as you. I think there'll be goals for both teams. Yeah. I think it'll be another high scoring one, maybe like a 3-2. I think it'll be, it'll be another great game. I hope I haven't given that the kiss of death for you, John.
No, not at all, Mark. But we don't do the easy way. I think all of our, maybe apart from a couple, I think all of our knockout stages and things have all been high scoring legs, whether it be under Pellegrini or Pep. So no, a little bit nervous, but really looking forward to it.
Yeah. And who's your next game against?
After Real Madrid, we've got Chelsea in the FA Cup on Saturday, which will be an interesting one because obviously we've drawn twice against Chelsea in the league this season, and then following that we've got Brighton away, weirdly, on a Thursday night, again, which kind of one of the ones I'm nervous about. And then following that we've got Notts Forest away, and then we've got Wolves at home is our next home game on May the 4th. Again, and Wolves aren't the easiest team to beat. They beat us away at Molineux, controversial with a poor referee and decision. I seem to remember. So, I think Brighton, tough game. Forest, the way they're going at the moment, I don't think Nuno's really found a formula that works. So hopefully be a win there. But we did draw 1-1 against them last season. Chris Wood in the final minutes to get the equaliser, and then that Wolves game. So I don't think it's as easy as on paper it looks easy, but I think footballing wise, it's not as easy as people make it out.
Yeah, I'm going to press you for a score. What do you think the score will be against Nottingham Forest?
I'm going to say 4-0. I don't think it'll be a tonking, but I think it'll be two goals either half.
You think they'll beat you by that much?
Oh, well, depends if League 2 and Harling turns up or not.
Fair enough. John, it's a pleasure, mate. I really do. I hope you enjoy the Real Madrid game. I'll be watching that one for sure, and I'm sure we will catch up before the end of the season. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Mark. I'll send you some pictures. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Okay, so John, 4-0. He thinks that you're going to spank Forest 4-0.
I can't believe he just said that. We was friends before we started on here. What's going on?
Probably about right, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not far wrong. He's not far wrong, is he?
No. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And obviously, you guys played Wolves, the game that you were trailing in, come back 2-1, and then obviously finished another draw. You've had a lot of draws, haven't you? This
mate, we just can't turn those draws into wins. I mean, but the thing is, the last 5 games we've like drawn 3, lost 1, won 1. Those points at the end of the season, if you tally them up, it might just be our saviour. I just don't know. You know, we're not great at the minute, Mark. I mean, I'd love to be sitting here as smug as that Man City fan was, but I'm sitting here,
Me too,
I'm sitting here like a Forest fan who's like thinking to himself, the world's going to end if we get relegated. You know what I mean? It's just, and one of the best moments of my life was last season when we beat Arsenal, and it was like, that was brilliant. And I thought to myself, we're going to sign all these players, we're going to do this and do that, and finish 10th, but no.
Well, you did. Well, Steve Cooper signed a hell of a lot of players. What was it? I think it was like 22, wasn't it?
Something silly. But we had so many on loan, it was unreal, mate. We had to replace them and build pretty much a new team. We got penalised for it, as you know. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, again, that's a kind of a difficult one as well, because you think. I was thinking this earlier. Like, if I was to ask you, where do you need to improve? Like, where do you need to sign players? But you probably can't even do that now. The balancing of books now for you must be so tricky. So even if you do stay up, how do you improve on that for next season?
I don't think we have to. I mean, if we stay up, I think that Nuno will get it right. And I think he's got the players that he's bought and he's had bought for him that he's inherited, that I think it will be all right. It's just getting them players to gel. We got Morgan Gibbs-White, who I absolutely think is an absolute baller. He's unreal. And if we go down, he was gone. He'll go to Tottenham, or he'll go to Newcastle, sniffing around him. I read today, you know what I mean? He's just such an outstanding player. He's my favourite player for Forest, you know what I mean? He just puts it all on the pitch and he just leaves it all out there. And he reminds me of like the way he runs around. You know, like when Beckham did it against Greece, just every blade of grass. When you need him to win that game, that's the player that you look at, and he's going to do a little flick, or he's going to do something to put the crowd on their feet. You know what I mean? It's just, and he scores as well. His delivery from set pieces ain't great, but he's just an absolute baller, mate. I love him a bit. He's brilliant.
Is it a bit of a combo? Because I see, again, I don't know this stat, but I can't remember the last time you had a clean sheet. I know you've had a lot of draws, but they've typically been at 1-1s or 2-2s. You just can't seem to keep them clean sheets.
But we can't defend set pieces.
Yeah,
it's either a corner or a free kick. It's just going to undo us. We got Matt Sells in goal now, who's actually a really good keeper, and he's coming. He's took over from Turner. You know what I mean? Turner came from Arsenal as their reserve, and I liked him at the start, but I think he is a reserve goalkeeper. You know what I mean? He's backup.
Yeah.
But then Matt Sells came in, and he's been brilliant. But he just can't keep that clean sheet. It drives us crazy. You go 1 up, and you kind of know you're going to concede.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to go 2 or maybe 3 up, before you can actually relax a little bit. And then even then, at 3-0 at half time, we've been 2-0 ups going in at half time, and then the other team score like 2-1 straight after. And then the crowd get nervous. I get nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just drives you crazy. You know what I mean? Because you know that we're going to concede at some stage. We haven't kept, like you say, kept a clean sheet for ages. And it is really hard to watch for us at the minute. Well, it's hard to watch for us at any time. You know what I mean? But it's a lifetime commitment, isn't it? Just like West Ham.
I know. What can you do? It's a curse that our fathers put on us.
It's a curse that you just love and hate it with equal amounts, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's approaching squeaky bum time for Forest, but I think you've only lost 1 in the last 5, so that's promising signs.
Yeah, but 3 draws and a win and a loss. But like I said, those little wins, those little draws, you tot them up at the end of the season. If we stay up by 1 goal difference, you know what I mean? You're not even by a point. Just that 1 goal difference, we stay up over Fulham or Everton. You know what I mean? And I'm glad to hear that Everton were losing tonight. Yeah,
I was going to say, I was looking at the league table here. So Everton obviously did have 2 games in hand. They're only 1. Looks like they've lost that one. They're only 1 point ahead. So I don't know who
we play Everton next as well.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a 6-pointer for you. And then I think Everton have got Chelsea. No, sorry, they've got Chelsea tonight. Then I can't remember, they've got a decent team, I think, after that as well. So do you think you'll turn them over?
It's hard, mate. Honestly, I can't say we're going to turn anyone over. I mean, I'm really, really appreciative that the Man City fan thought we was going to beat them 4-0. So, we'll see what happens there. But, I'm looking at our games left. I wrote them down. I got my bum here. But we've got Everton, City, Sheffield United, Chelsea, and Burnley. That's not a bad run-in when you're looking at the broad scale of things. You know what I mean? And I'd take, obviously, we need to beat Everton. We have to beat Everton. But do we want to? Would I take a draw if you gave it to me now? I probably would.
Yeah.
But I mean, City's going to bash us. Then we got Sheffield United.
We're Luton as well.
Chelsea. We're at home at Chelsea. Last home game of the season as well. You know, the crowd. Everyone's talked about the crowd at the City Ground. You know what I mean? And how it inspires the whole team and how noisy they are and how brilliant they are to backing all the players. I think we could probably turn Chelsea over at home. Last home game of the season. I mean, then you got a Burnley who will probably be down by then. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know, mate. I ain't got a clue. When you asked me to come on here earlier, I said, why do you want to see a grown man cry? That's why you've got me on here, isn't it? Because I don't know what's happening with Forest at the minute, mate. I'd love to say we get, I wrote it down, 3 wins, a draw and a loss out of the last 5 games. If we got that, I'll be over the moon and we'd stay up. But we could just as easily lose all 5. Yeah. And it's madness.
That's the beauty of football at this end of the season. Everyone is so nervous.
It just drives me crazy, mate. Honestly, I love it. You love it and hate it in equal parts. Like you say, you know yourself being a West Ham fan. I've known you a lot of years, Mark, and you've seen all the ups and the downs, like I have, mate, with Forest. Yeah. I just don't want to go another 20 odd years before I see Forest in the Premier League again.
That's the problem, isn't it? I know you get the parachute payments, but and even that they're disputing. There's talks of disputes on that as well at the moment. But yeah. Even with that, we've seen enough teams go down with those and still not be able to bounce back.
Well, yeah, look at teams like Middlesbrough are massive, you know what I mean? And they haven't been able to come back up since they dropped down, you know. But like again, Forest, you know, when we came up, when we invested, you get penalised for investing nowadays as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing now. Like I was saying to a Newcastle fan, by the way, Lewis has just said that Turner's another Fabianski. I'm going to say Fabianski has been our man of the match for about the last 3 games. I mean, it's not to say a lot because the rest of West Ham teams have been shit, but he has kept it respectable. But yeah, what were you saying before that? Lost my train of thought then.
No, just you've lost me as well, mate. You cut me off, mate. What's that all about?
So, there is another question actually for you, John, while we're here, which is what are your thoughts on the NFFC ownership? Was Cooper right to go?
I think he took the team as far as he could have. I love Steve Cooper. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He totally embraced the whole culture of Nottingham Forest. He was Nottingham Forest through and through while he was there, and I got nothing but love for the guy. But I think his limits were found out when we was in the Premier League, and I think the time was right to bring someone in with some Prem experience like Nuno. And I think I think at the minute we're playing better football than we did under Steve Cooper. I think we're more attacking. You know, you look at us going forward, we could cause any team any problems. You know, a lot of problems for any team. It's just the defensive side, which Nuno will get right because he was also always very good as an ex-goalkeeper as well. You know, he knows what he wants in front of. You know, I used to be a goalkeeper. I'd like to pick a back 4. You know what I mean? That will protect me as best as I can, and then build from that. You know, so as an ex-goalkeeper like Nuno is, obviously not on the same level, he was never as good as me. He's going to look at that defensive line and make it as solid as he can to protect his keeper. I think he will get it right, but it's whether or not, if we do go down, he stays and he gets the opportunity to kind of build. I think if we stay up, we won't be a force, obviously. You know, we're still a new club in the Premier League. But I think we'll build. It will be stronger, a lot stronger in season 3 than we ever was in 1 and 2. And I don't think we'll be flirting with relegation if we stay up this year for next year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know that obviously you turned Wolves practically into Portugal's B team. Do you think you can see a lot of influence coming in from abroad?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've bought actually quite well. When you look at the players on paper, I know, like I say, football's not played on paper, it's played on grass. But, you know, when you write the team down, they're all good players. You know, they're all players that they're Premier League team players, if you know what I mean. They're not top players. You look at Morgan Gibbs-White, it's probably the only one that would make the next step up, if you know what I mean, to a top 6 team. You know what I mean? And he wouldn't look out of place in a top 6 team. Do you know what I mean? Nico Williams as well. He's been playing really well. I've seen him linked with like the likes of Newcastle. You know what I mean? And he would easily make that step up to the next level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the rest of the team are building and they're gelling. They're trying to just get that consistency that you need to have as a Premier League team. And I think if Nuno's given enough time to do it, he will make us decent. And we'll certainly, I think, be mid-table plus, you know what I mean? That rather than where we are, we're kind of fleeting. We're actually in our second division in the Premier League. So we are basically, when you look at it, exactly where we should be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? We should be dancing with relegation until we get ourselves established a bit more. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of the times the teams that come up into the Prem are the teams that genuinely go down. So what we've done in the past couple of years has been exactly where we should be. We're not an established team in the Premier League yet. We are getting there. If we see out this season as still a Prem team, then you build on season 3. You know what I mean? And you attract better players. You attract the better quality of players. Nuno's got his own way of playing, which I really like. And people may want to come and play for Nuno as well.
Yeah. I think he's established, isn't he? He's definitely a good manager. I know, obviously, between Everton and Luton and yourself, isn't it really? He's going to make up that final one to go down.
Yeah.
Do you think, I think everybody kind of wants, not everyone's against Forest here, John. I'm not saying that.
I know,
we're
going
to do it. I'd love to see Everton go. I'd love to see Everton go.
I was talking to my boy Mitchell the other day, and he went, he loves Luton. I said, well, if you want Luton to stay up, Forest have got to go down. And that kind of stopped him in his tracks. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I think he probably loves Luton more than he loves Forest, so he wouldn't mind if we went down. But you know what I mean? I'd love to. Everton have been flirting with relegation for the past couple of seasons.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be that bad a thing for football because they'll come back up. Forest have had their time in the Championship and even down to League One. You know what I mean? And I think Forest. It's horrible because I'm a Forest fan. You know what I mean? I'd like to see Luton stay up. I'd like to see Forest stay up. I've really got no love for Everton. I've got nothing against them, but I think they've, like I say, they've been there or thereabouts the past couple of seasons where they could have gone down. But then they've got a couple of good wins and they've stayed up. So it is what it is. Whatever I say and whatever you say is not going to change what's going to happen, is it? It's all about opinions, football. And because I love Forest, I just want them to stay up, mate. You know what I mean? I don't care who goes down.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at the the good players I think they could get them out. So Luton, I quite like the look of Colton Morris. They've got a striker there. I think he's like about 1 in 3. For a team like Luton, obviously Ross Barkley's been outstanding this season.
Oh, he's been excellent.
But for Colton Morris, he's a sort of player I think could improve. If they do go down, would be a great signing for a West Ham, but for a Forest as well. I think he's that kind of.
Listen, you're going to do what you did with who did you get from us? Who's still playing for you? You brought him about
Antonio.
Antonio, exactly. Yeah. You'll probably end up with a 1 year if we go down. He's your sort of player. He'll be playing for West Ham in like 90 years' time, like Antonio is. You know what I mean? And still doing
wheeling him out.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, he's a good player. Like you say about Barkley as well, he's been outstanding. And I thought his best days had gone, to be honest. I thought he was like a marquee signing for Fulham just for the name, but his football's been outstanding all season. He's been by far their best player, and he's dragged them through games. You know what I mean? And he's been he's the Morgan Gibbs White of Luton. You know what I mean? He's the one that they look to. He's the one that's got that little bit something special in his locker. You know, that he will unlock a game with a pass or a shot, or he'll just lift the crowd. You know what I mean? Like Gibbs White does. You know what I mean? And I've got a lot of time for Barkley. I think if he was in a better side, he'd be probably looking for an England call up as well. The form he's got at the minute. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, such a competitive centre midfield we've got though. It's ridiculous with Ajax and Manu. Like Cole Palmer couldn't even get on in the recent friendlies. Ridiculous. He's just gone and scored a hat-trick tonight.
He's got 3 already, you know what I mean? Which is good for me, obviously, as a Forest fan, but I've also captained him in my dream team as well. So I'm over the moon with that.
Double win,
exactly, mate.
Double win. Okay, Lewis has posed another question here.
Go on.
Just to wind us both up, I think. John, would you prefer good football and a future with Nunes or boring negative football with no real plan with Moyes? Obviously, league positions. Would you rather be West Ham in 7th or Forest in 17th?
I'd probably have less of a heart attack if I was supporting West Ham. So probably the West Ham. But I like the way Nuno plays it. You know what I mean? We're good going forward. I think any team, especially when they come to the City ground as well, you know, they know with the crowd behind them, every time we charge forward, we look dangerous and we look like we're going to do something. It might not always happen, but then the ball gets turned over and the crowd get equally as excited as they are going forward. They get equally nervous when it's going back, and especially when we get like corners and free kicks around, around the box. You know what I mean? It's you know something's going to happen. It's not normal. It's not always good for Forest. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's so tight there with those three teams. There's going to be some really interesting twists and turns. I think I don't like to say it, but I pretty much think the title's done and dusted now, and I hope it isn't. But I just can't see City messing it up from here.
I think I saw something this morning. I don't know who it was that said that Arsenal are out of it now because they're chasing the best team in the world because and they know how to win. I think it might have been Merson. I'm not quite sure. He was on punditry, but they're chasing the best team in the world that know how to grind out results. And like your contributors have said tonight, they could go 25 games unbeaten, let alone 6 on the bounce. You know, if they go 6 on the bounce, they've won the title. But being a Forest fan, I'm not used to talking about titles. It's been about like 40, 50 years since I've been out talking. Not in a Forest title. Yeah, exactly. But no, I think City are nailed on. But I think it's so hard. I mean, we're playing City at home. I think we're at home. No, yeah, I think we're playing City at home in a couple of weeks. Now, obviously, they're odds-on favourites to win that game. But if we turn up on our day and we get a couple of quick goals like we did against Man United, I think it was 2-0 against United a couple of years ago at Old Trafford. You know, this football is why we love it, isn't it? And no one knows what's going to happen. The chances are they'll turn us over 5-6-7-0 or whatever. But there's always that glimmer of a hope, isn't it? That they might all have heart attacks in the tunnel on the way out to the pitch. And you might get a walkover.
Yeah, it's the hope that kills you, though. That's the problem, isn't it? Is that again, supporting the teams that we support? There's that hope, the glimmer. It's like, well, we had a good result against them 5 years ago, so it might happen again.
You're European champions, mate. That's what I hear from people around me. You know,
it's a pony
whenever
cup.
I talk about West Ham, you're European champions at the minute.
I don't. I have this argument with West Ham fans. I still think it's a pony cup. I think it's.
But mate, I tell you what, I'd love to get a pony cup instead of where we are at the minute. So you take it, and don't tell me you didn't celebrate when they won.
I promise you, I couldn't. I didn't. It was really weird. It was really weird, and I was sat with Lewis here actually watching that game, and he'll tell you that I just wasn't excited about it because the reason I wasn't because we were like I don't know 16th in the league or something really bad, and Moyes would have got sacked if we hadn't won it. And we won it. So then I knew, great, I'm looking forward to another season of absolute crap football to watch. And that's what he's delivered.
But, you know, Mitchell's the same, Mark. He hates Ten Hag. So every time, like, Man U lose, he's like, brilliant, they're going to get rid of him. And they just don't. And it must be the same for you with, like, Moisey. You want him out, quite clearly, but he keeps just hanging on by the skin of his teeth, doesn't he?
Yeah, we'll lose. Just as you think he's going to get the sacked, he'll put out a result.
Yeah,
and he just buys him that job, and he's been doing that for too long. Now, I know that's harsh, and people say, "Well, West Ham, they're where we should be, or even above where we should be." But it's like this is that whole thing about results business versus an entertainment business, and I'm going back to that purist. You know, I like to watch a good game of football, and I don't 100%. Really get to do that with West Ham. You know, I have to watch lots of other games, which Kelly annoys Kelly. But I have to watch lots of other football to see different games.
Yeah, no, I get you on that, mate. But who would you take in instead of him?
Yeah,
who's out there at the minute that you would want as a West Ham manager?
Well, I would take Potter over him. He was given an absolute poison chalice going to Chelsea. But I like what he played at Brighton. I mean, there's no other real. He's the only other real English manager. I'm not saying it needs to be English, but there's enough in Portugal, Germany that we could probably try something. The only problem is that our board will not sign. They've already said they don't like foreign managers. They were so badly burnt with Pellegrini that they said they don't want to go foreign managers. So it doesn't leave us much choice.
Steve Cooper's still out there?
Yeah, maybe not. I'll pass on that one. But John, look, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
And you,
Good
mate.
luck to Forest. I do hope they stay up, honestly. I want Everton to go down. Sorry,
So
Everton
do I.
fans that are watching this, but it is what it is.
Top man. Thanks, Mark.
Lovely, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
Love to you, mate. Take care.
Bye, mate. Okay, so that's it. Thanks very much for joining us on Talking Balls this week. We will be back next Monday at 8 o'clock. As always, hopefully we'll see you there. And if you do want to come onto the show, just get in touch, add it into the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and we will see you soon.